Hey guys, so I got a bit of an interesting video today, at least in my opinion, and something I've been wondering for a while, and that is on how to connect to your higher self, slash spiritual team, slash source, whoever you really ask, you can connect to them with this technique. Okay, so recently I've been kind of going through these clearings that I've set up with licensed practitioners, in which I clear my aura, download these codes, figure out how to download codes from the sun better, really open up my energy, right? So, and along this process, I was taught how to really connect to your higher self, and I felt it myself. I can feel the energy moving. So to give, first of all, we need to pretty much discern and figure out how our body can discern the truth. So whenever you get those goosebumps, right, I'm sure you've all gotten them, like when something amazing happens, some sort of miracle, maybe you're in love, or some sort of truth even that you may not have noticed is presented to you, you'll get these goosebumps up your spine. They start, at the base of your spine, really, and they go all the way up towards your head. And that's an expansive energy. I want you to take note of that. So the energy is coming from in and going out, right? It's outsourcing, it's leaving your body, expanding, right? That's just how love is. That's how truth is. It's expansive, right? Now, on the contrary, we have, something fearful, a lie, something manipulative. Maybe you'll encounter a person that engages in these tactics, right? Then you'll get the opposite effect, where the energy starts flowing through you back down, and it's contracting, right? It's constricting. It's like a shudder. It's like, oh, it starts creating fear inside of you. That's why really it's easy to discern between any information that may cause fear and any information that is truthful by how you feel, right? Now, there are certain information, like let's say the Weather Channel says, hey, a hurricane is coming towards you. That is still the truth, even though it isn't, sort of a fearful message, but it won't have that effect on you where it's like constricting and you don't want to know what to do. It's kind of like, okay, expansive, because that gives you power. Like, okay, that's heading towards me, I can take measures against that. But on the contrary, a message that is limiting you rather than empowering you, right? Because especially when you start awakening spiritually, you'll come along all these theories, and it's like, oh, this and this and that, and everything's like, it's a lot of it's fear-based, and it's not, empowering you. It's actually like constricting you. It's putting you back in a box. Like, oh, there's no point in doing all this stuff because this is how it is. Kind of like some movies you may watch, if you don't interpret them properly, because that's kind of the purpose of giving you those truths, kind of like to scare you from pursuing further, rather, because at a certain vibration you'll interpret them differently. For example, the Truman Show and the Matrix. Well, because Neo in the Matrix breaks out of one matrix, and then he keeps having to break out, and it's an infinite loop of matrices, really. And it's kind of like, okay, well, I'd rather just stay at the beginning, and stay asleep and not really do all of this, because there's no end. And well, that's not really the truth. There are some truths in it meant to empower you, but you have to look at it really from an awakened eye, from a aware perception, because you'll get stuck in this infinite loop of fear. And the truth is, all there is really love, and breaking out of the matrix is really breaking out of those fear and limiting beliefs. And yes, there are many matrices along the line, starting like with your family, your friends, or limiting beliefs, your job, certain areas of your own life that you have to break out of in order to help the whole world break out of the box, which is really what's been happening. And when we learn to discern these truths, we get these signals, or we learn to interpret these signals that we're getting, because our body literally is a lie detector, basically. So remember, energy flowing up the spine, goosebumps up the spine, truth. It's coming out. It even feels good. On the other hand, it feels bad. It feels constricting, limiting, fearful when we're getting different fearful message of a lie. Okay, so in regards to connecting to your higher self, you can start by holding out your palm, hold it out flat, for fingertips out, and you start by connecting to your higher self. And you start by asking. First, you ask to connect, then you ask if you are connected, and you see where the energy goes, right? The energy flows towards your fingertips. It's going outwards. It's a bit of a warmer energy going out, and that means it's the truth. Going backwards, going towards your palm, towards your wrist, it's colder energy, and that is a lie. And you can test this by asking your higher self questions that are yes answers, right? So a yes is positive. First, let's interpret it that way. Yeah, you can even interpret them as positive, negative, even not even just truth, lie. But you can ask questions that are yes questions, yes answers, and questions that are no answers. No answers will flow towards the wrist. Yes answers will flow out. Okay, so whenever you're faced with some sort of decision in your life, you have questions about a specific person. Is this person good for me, bad for me? The higher self can answer those questions. Be careful in asking, should I do this or should I not do this? Because those are you're giving away your power, really. So your higher self, your spirit guides, no one really can answer that question of should for you. So you have to reword the question and really figure out how to ask the question better, because if they answer that should question for you, they're basically taking your power, and it's an infringement on your free will, and it can depolarize them, and they'll understand you're not really ready to work with them. So if they're gonna give you advice, you need to listen, really, because otherwise, if you just take their advice, don't listen, don't do anything about it, they're not gonna give you that advice anymore until you're ready again. Makes sense? And those should questions are basically like, oh, well, should I do this or should I do that? Should I do this or should I do that? It's like, well, hold on, open up your mind, open up your perception. There are many more options, and try asking a different way, try asking a different question. Because, like I said, you have free will, you have power, and rather than asking whether you should do something, rephrase the question into, is this going to impact me positively if I do this, or will it impact me negatively? That's a better question that they can actually help you with. Or basically, since we can only communicate with yes or no questions, you have to be very, very specific with your questions. So obviously think about that before you end up connecting with your higher self and asking questions that may not be helpful towards you. But that's pretty much all I got in terms of that. Obviously, there are many other ways you can connect to your higher self, and some people connect through writing, some people connect through painting, many different forms. But this is I feel a more direct way, because that's what I've been really trying to get at. It's like a telepathic form of connection, really. So if I can really get there, I'd say a pinnacle, because I've been told that my gift is clairaudience, which means you can hear, just telepathy. So many forms of psychics have clairvoyance, clairaudience, where they can either see visions and they interpret them, or you can hear. And that's basically just means you're raising your vibration, or you're very gifted and you're born with such abilities. And you can access these abilities. But I feel like many of us have these. Many of us also stifle them because we're not aware of them, and we have a fluoridated pineal gland, and make all these life decisions that affect those gifts. So you need to really absorb life codes, access your DNA, open up your pineal gland to really get to these gifts. And there are some people that meditate profusively for like 8 hours a day, 7 times a week, and they start accessing these gifts much more naturally. I've also meditated, but I've also gone towards other, practices, and that were helpful for me in opening up my DNA more and activating my DNA more. But definitely meditation is key for these sorts of, to access these sorts of ability, and healthy diet, sleeping right, activating your pineal gland, because that is basically your communicator, right? But yeah, I hope you guys got something out of this message. Let me know how connecting to your higher self goes. All right, take care.